Hi folks, so this happened to me last October of 2018. I was up on the top of this ravine checking on a jar of peanut butter that I'd left in a cranny of this large rock here.
Jar of peanut butter is gone.
Then something drew my attention to my right, just before a large tree limb came crashing down about 120 feet away from me. This is the original clip seen here.
That was strange. Right up over there.
After roughly 36 hours of painstaking frame-by-frame editing, this is the zoomed and stabilized clip of the object's descent from the tree canopy to the ground. Same clip with the tree canopy more to the center of the frame. The three main concerns I have regarding this video clip are: 1 is the speed of the falling stick. My gut tells me it's falling too fast to be natural. 2, the stick is coming down at an angle which also does not seem natural. And finally 3, this white object seen moving here in the top of the canopy where the stick appears to start its fall. If you watch this loop enough times, this white object becomes more and more suggestive of a throwing motion. Now I won't be able to nail down the velocity because I need to know exactly how far it traveled. I won't be able to get to this spot again until next spring. Then I'll be able to get some measurements. So this is going to have to be a 2-part series. Be sure to click on the notification bell of my homepage to get notified when I do publish part 2. I thought I'd mention that before I forget. The only measurement I have for this video is the duration of the fall, which is a biggie. Okay, I want to show you folks something here. This is my editing program. I'm going to take this clip here and put it down into my storyboard to get it ready to edit. And as soon as I do, look over here where it says speed, 100%. That's automatically default. No speed has been changed. And when I do that, you can hear the audio just fine. I'll just turn up the audio a little bit more this time to illustrate that better. Okay, now my point is here, watch what you see right here. It's not muted. But watch what happens when I try to cheat and make it seem like this fell out of the tree faster by changing the speed. All I do is like change it just a tiny bit, and as soon as I do, look at this, you get a little red cross going through the mute thing there. That means this program is unable to play sound when you change the speed at all. That's just the way this is. And I'm just telling you that because when I go forward here and I explain the velocity or the duration of the fall, you're going to be able to hear the thud, which means I have not changed the speed of the video clip at all. I am being honest. Okay, so now I've trimmed up the video here, the clip, to where it first starts just before it lands. You hear a little just before it thuds to get the most accurate time of the fall. where it starts right about in this area here. And it falls at an angle, starts here, and heads down and hits in this area somewhere. You watch this over, this one over here. Watch this one over here. I'm gonna hit play. Starts at 0. So the entire fall is almost 1 second. We'll just say 1 second to be conservative. Now we can take our 1 second fall duration and pull up Omni's free fall calculator. There are other free fall calculators online that will do just the same. This one's just fine. And now we can just punch in the only variable we know is the time of the fall, which is 1 second. But before I do this, I'm just going to state anything less than 25 feet, and I'm going to eliminate the natural, unassisted fall. My conservative estimate is at least 30 feet, if not more. Okay, so time of fall is 1. 16 feet at about 22 miles per hour we're getting. Okay, so I'm officially calling BS on the natural cause. It was about double that height in my estimation. Other things of note: the sound of a shaking branch at the start of the stick's descent, which drew my attention. Remember Newton's third law? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now that I'm nearly 100% certain that the object was actually thrown down by something, how much of a stretch would it be that this sound was caused by the opposite reaction of energy from the downward throw, momentarily lessening the weight of the thrower on the limb it was standing on, and therefore producing the audible limb shaking sound we hear. Now I want you to note the orientation of the spear as it is thrown downwards. I'm rocking this clip back and forth where the orientation is most apparent. I tried highlighting it in slow-mo, but that wasn't as effective as real speed scrubbing. You can clearly see its up and down position as you would throw a spear, with the tip hitting the ground first. If you're still watching this, let me ask you something, and reply in the comments below. How would you like to have your tent set up under where this landed? And if you were lucky enough to not be inside, coming back to find it pierced through the top of your tent, skewered into the ground, through your sleeping bag, would you think this would still have fallen naturally? Maybe it was sharpened by one of these things. Possibly a spear sharpening stone, not 200 feet from this very spot. I'm not even kidding. I made a video about it in the fall of 17. And only about 100 feet to the north of the spot, I found this 13-inch track, all by itself, left there like a gift, with all oak leaves swept away to expose it, obvious to even the most oblivious. Just listen to the force of this thing when it hits the ground, from 120 feet away no less. Imagine the fabric of your tent trying to hold its shape when it comes through. Not much frightens me in this world. Seeing and knowing this is real isn't going to stop me from going to the spot, even though there's a good chance this was meant to be as a warning or as a show of force. Like, this is what I can do to you anytime I want kind of warning. So for those of you who'd still like to come along for a hike, you've been warned. They might not all be about rainbows and unicorns. I suspect this one to be a rowdy teenager, still light enough to scale the smaller branches of the canopy, maybe 300 pounds or less, and likely letting his or her hormones get the better of their judgment. Otherwise, I'd probably have no interaction at all. I imagine its parents would not approve of this show of force, the needless exposure of their group, if it belongs to one. Their whole system, their culture of tactical reclusiveness is not perfect. I'm beginning to see through the cracks. Once you know where and when to look, how to listen, and above all else, how to sharpen your perception, it's actually quite simple. These may be famous last words. I wouldn't be the first adrenaline junkie to die from his hobby. If I ever go missing while hiking, please someone note to others, especially those closest to me, that I likely fell victim to something like this. And I more than likely never knew what hit me, nor felt a thing.
And remember, no matter what the season, keep looking up.